So let's just start right away. We've got, I'm just going to go through all the stuff that's on the list of things we're supposed to learn because Tuesday is our exam. And I just want to do a review of everything that's going to be on the exam. So that's kind of the goal. So I've got a bunch of stuff to zip through. And I will start with our melodic, sorry, not melodic. I keep saying, ooh, look at that. You were right. Leslie shows up. Hello, Leslie. Good to see you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Davielle had faith in you. She said you would definitely be here today.
I almost missed it. I, for some reason, didn't hear my alarm clock, so I just woke up.
I thought you were a morning person.
I am, but for some reason, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's called being really tired after a very long year. We're the 6th week of the last quarter. You're allowed to be tired at 8 in the morning, even if you are a morning person. It won't stop me from making fun of you, but you're certainly entitled to be tired. So don't worry about it. So I was just telling Davielle that our ear training exam is Tuesday, and I happen to know what's on it. So I'm just going to run through and review everything. So what I'd like to do is do all the kinds of assignments we're going to have on that, and anything you have trouble with at the time we can practice. So you just have to say, "Hey, wait, that's really messing me up," or you say, "Go on," and after we do it, we go on to the next thing. And if we go through it all fast, we'll be done early. I don't think that's possible. But let's just find out what we know and don't know. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay, so the first thing is melodic intervals. And I think I've got a whole bunch of them here. This could take us a little time. I'm only going to play them once, unless after I finish one, you need to hear it again, in which case take off your mute and say, play it again, please. Because some of them you get right away and some of them you want to hear twice. And Sophie's here, I think. Look at that. Okay, we're going to start again. All right. Hey, Sophie. Good to have you with us.
Good morning.
I was just telling the gang, we have an exam on Tuesday. So I'm going to go through all the kinds of questions that's going to be on the exam on Tuesday for ear training, and we're going to do it as practice. Okay? So I probably will play it twice now since we've got 3 people. So we're going to start with melodic intervals, and I'll play each one twice, but with not much time in between. Let's see how well we do. All right. Melodic intervals. Remember, just write major and minor and whatever interval it is, or perfect if it's a 4th or 5th. Here we go. First one. I was foiled. Let's do that again. First one. Again. So I guess I'm having a technical problem here. It won't take me long to solve it, but I've got a small technical. There we go. All right, second one. Let's hear it again. Third. Again. Fourth. And again. Fifth. Again. Sixth. Another time. Seventh. Seventh again. Eighth. Eighth again. Ninth. Ninth again. 10th and last. One more time. Now, I won't go as fast on the exam as that, but this is a way of knowing how good we are and know what we have to practice. So let me show you the correct answers. Here they are, and I'll play it as I go so you can hear them. The first one is a major third. Why aren't you playing? The first one is a major third. Oops, major third. Then we have a perfect fifth, a minor sixth, a minor third, a major sixth, a minor sixth, a minor second, another minor third, a major second, and finally a major sixth. I think those are the same notes I used in the other major sixth. Maybe not. Yep, there it is. So, how do we do? Talk to me. Send me notes or talk to me straight on. Tell me how that went. Huh, okay. So everyone send me notes so you won't know who sent me what note, and then I can answer some questions. Okay, so we're getting and so Leslie, I think it's this is first of all, Leslie was complaining that sometimes she's having trouble getting the sound to work, particularly in lower octaves. And maybe for the exam, I'll put everything in the upper octave. I try to use different octaves because our ears have to adjust to pitches in different places, but we also have technological problems, and our speakers don't do lows very well, and bandwidth is bad. So I'll try on the exam to keep everything in the treble clef. It makes it a little easier in terms of the exam, but it also means that our technology is not going to betray us as much. What I'm hearing is that people are hearing the major and minor pretty well, but we're having trouble with the intervals. We're inverting a lot of intervals. And I don't know how to help with that except to say I give half credit if you invert the interval correctly, because sometimes we hear this interval like let me see, you know, why are you not playing, computer? Um, so for example, if I have this interval, that's a major third, that's a minor sixth. It's hard to hear that. We hear because that A is the same, but sometimes we get the octave wrong on our second note, or vice versa. And I don't know how to practice that, except just to practice it. But I do give half credit for that because you're hearing the notes correctly, you're hearing the interval correctly. You've just done an octave displacement, and that's so easy to do, and not very important from a musical point of view. So I don't want us to worry about it. But if anyone has an idea of how to practice that, I would love to hear um, how we could do that. I'd love to hear how we could practice that. So if someone has an idea, otherwise we just practice and try and get better. But that inversion thing just happens to me all the time too. It's one thing if you hear a sixth and think it's a fourth. That's a problem a lot of people have. But that's we're not hearing the notes right. But hearing a third and thinking it's a sixth and vice versa, that's kind of easy mistake. Okay, I don't have a suggestion on that. So I just say, practice it a little bit on your own, and you get half credit for any inversion. So don't get panicked if you invert a couple, because it won't affect your grade very much. And it's completely understandable. We're just trying to get the notes and the qualities right now. Okay. I'm getting very little feedback. So I'm assuming that I'm saying so much wisdom that you don't have to answer. But if you need anything or want to answer, please do. All right. My wisdom must be brilliant. All right, let's try the next exercise. So the next is the scale exercise. And the thing about the scales is that, we have a number of scales. We have the major scale. And then we have that major, except that the leading tone is flatted. That's the mixolydian. That's the mixolydian. We have our minor scales. That's your natural minor. But we also have the one with the augmented second, the harmonic minor. And we have the one where everything is sharped on top, the melodic minor. But we also have a scale where the first of those notes, the sixth degree, is sharped and the seventh isn't. And that's the Lydian, sorry, not the Lydian mode, the Dorian mode. It doesn't have that leading tone. It's not melodic or harmonic minor, but it has the raised note. And I think we've also added into this, maybe I haven't, I think that's all we've got. So we've got those scales. I'm only going to play them once because we're listening for the one note. So if you start in the first, and we're in major, there's only two things it can be, major and mixolydian. If you hear minor, it's either Dorian or it's one of the minors. So you just listen for the top part. So you only get one shot at each one, and then we'll see how we do. And again, I'll give you two on any exam, but what we're trying to find out is where our strengths and weaknesses are. If you can do this on one, you don't have any practicing to do on this. If you almost get it on one, you don't have much practicing to do. If you absolutely need two to get it right at all, probably should practice a little bit. So here we go. Let's do these scales. I'm going to move all of them up into the treble clef right now. So give me just a second to do that. That will help. Whoops. It's lucky for you I have the master finale and can do that quickly. All right, here we go. First scale. Yeah, I'll play it twice. I'll be nice. Second time. Second scale. Second scale again. Leslie, I apologize that the oboe player they sampled gets so pinched on an A and a B. Don't be offended by the oboe sound, please. Third scale. And here it comes again. Fourth scale. And again. Hey, let's do another scale. And again. Next scale. One more time. And our last scale. I'm sorry, let's do it one more time. Second time through. And now we look at the correct answers. So our first scale starts with minor, but the top part, we have a raised 6 and a lowered 7. So this is actually the Dorian mode. It sounds like it's going to melodic minor on that note, the 6th note, but then it doesn't follow through. There's no leading tone. The second scale is, what does it look like? Same thing. It looks like major now. And we're coming up like it's major, and then we have the leading tone is flatted, so there's no leading tone. That means it's Mixolydian. Mixolydian mode. Now here, it's just plain major. Our next scale will sound like minor at the bottom, and in fact, it is minor, but it's a natural minor. Everything is low. See, nothing was raised on that one. Whereas this one's minor, but we raised the 7th degree, giving us that big leap and making harmonic minor. I put another natural minor in here because I think it's hard to hear. Natural minor is hard. And you can predict what the last one is because it's the only one we haven't done, melodic minor, where we raise the 6th and the 7th. The 6th by itself would be Dorian. 6th and 7th together gives you melodic minor. So send me comments. Let me know how we're doing. More comments. Type faster. Staffio been kicked out? Is she waiting to get back in? Let me see. Hold on a second. Yeah, she got bounced out of Zoom. Thank you for noticing that. Leslie, because I just assumed we were all here. Well, I'll keep my eyes open for if she wants to come back. If you hear a ding that sounds like she's trying to get back in, everyone shout at me. I'll get her back in as soon as we hear something. She may have, but she could even have a power failure in her place. I don't know, but let's hope she gets back in. So, okay. But help me out with that, guys. In the meantime, sounds like that went pretty well. If there's a particular scale you always have trouble with, you can practice that a little bit on your own. But I think the scales are not going to be our problem. So the next is I'm going to play you some chords, and they may be in inversion or they may be in root position. I don't care what version they're in. I just want you to tell me if they're major, minor, or diminished. Let's see if we can do this one. I'll play each one twice. Let's just see how we do. All right. So chords. First chord. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to move everything to treble clef. I'm sorry, guys. Let me do that first. Okay, let's try it out. First chord. And the second time round. Second chord. Second time. Third one. Again. Fourth one. Fourth one again. Fifth one. Let's play that one again. And the last one. One more time. And let's check our answers. So the first chord was a major chord. It's in inversion, so it's a little hard to hear, but it's a major chord. The second's a minor chord. Let me play them so you can hear as we go by. Major chord. Then we have a minor chord. Whoops, did I say it? Did I lie to you? No, that's B flat minor, right? And then the next chord after that is a diminished chord. Here it comes. Chord after that's minor. Major. And diminished. How'd we do, guys? How'd we do? Good. Good, good, good. The minor and diminished are very easy to mix up. This is diminished. Let me get that sound shared again. So the diminished is, and the minor is, they have a very similar sound. The way I can tell the difference is minor is stable. You don't feel it move to another chord, whereas diminished, we feel it wanting to go someplace. But they have very, very similar tone qualities. Diminished wants to move. Minor doesn't want to move. But very, very similar qualities because of all those minor thirds. And that one takes a little practice. It's hard. So again, here's a different diminished. If you listen, you can hear it want to go. Whereas if I do the same chord in minor, a little more stable. Minor. Little stable, diminished. Feels like it's got to go somewhere. But they're very similar. That takes a lot of practice to distinguish those two chords. Probably after the exam, when we get back, we'll have to spend a little more time practicing that. But we will. We will. let's go to some two-part stuff now. All right, and so two parts. Now, this two-part where there's no accidentals, but I'm in minor this time. And that just makes it a little different in the hearing, but we're just still listening for scales and leaps and tonics and dominants. So it's the same kind of thing. So let me give you the instructions on this one. We're two parts. We're in 3/4 time. 3/4 time. No pickup note. 4 measures long. So you may want to set up a little grid for 4 measures to show where the beats are. 4 measures long. The treble clef is the soprano part. Starts on a C near the top of the treble clef staff. The bass part starts on an A at the top of the bass clef staff. I'm going to play 3 times emphasizing the soprano, then 3 times emphasizing the bass. So we have to hear rhythm and pitch both at the same time. Let's give it a try. 2 parts. Here we go. Oh, I forgot to tell you the key, guys. It's A minor. The key is A minor. So we're starting at a C in the soprano, but the key is A minor. So and we're starting on that note. So I'm going to play it again with that in mind. So here's our A minor. And we're starting on the C. Here we go again. This is first time through, so they didn't tell you. Let's do it a second time. And let's do it one more time. All right, let's try to emphasize the bass this time. So I've pushed the bass up a little bit louder. If you listen to the last interval, you should know what the last note of the bass is. The bass starts on an A, and we're in the key of A minor. So bass starts on an A, but there's some leaps in the bass part, makes it tricky. So if you can figure out the last note, it's a little bit helpful. Here we go. First time. Let's do that again. And let's do it one more time. All right, let's reveal the answers and see how you did. For some of you guys who are really good at pitch, this isn't so hard. But for most of us, 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts, this stuff is tricky. This is hard. So let's see how we did. So our soprano line is stepwise with one leap, only one near the end. And that takes us back. And we know we're coming to tonic if we hear the re, re, do. If we hear those first 3 notes, we can get that do in our heads and find that note. That's the one skip to find. Otherwise, we just have to notice that there's some eighth notes in there and a dotted quarter. So if I play that, well, I won't play it now. I'll play it when we do the whole thing together. And then if we look at the bass part, the bass part has this tricky leap of a fourth right at the beginning. And then it goes by scale. That's got one more leap. But if you miss the bottom note, you come back to the same note you were before. So that's doable. And then it's stepwise. And this is an octave. So if you're listening up, you hear that's an octave. Or if you're listening for tonic, you hear you're coming to tonic. So we should know we're ending on an A. And that should give you the last 2 measures. Now we have one set of eighth notes, and they line up with the set of eighth notes above it. So if we're listening for rhythm, if we get these 2 eighth notes right, we know where these 2 eighth notes fall because they match up. We want to be able to hear up and down and left to right at the same time. Then all we have to do is think the half notes. Half notes can be confusing when there's this much motion, but they're at least slow. And if we can line things up, we can count. Oh, it's got to be 2 beats before that comes in on the 3rd beat. So that's how we figure that out. This rhythm here with the half note there and the dotted quarter there, that's the trickiest moment in the piece, I think, particularly from a rhythmic point of view. That's hard to hear. Now that we see it, let's listen to it and see if it makes sense as we stare at it. And you can hear that that ending is an octave. If you're very fast, you can hear that that's an octave too. Those are great places to try and line it up. Then otherwise, we hear those eighth notes are together and that these last notes are together. And that's some clues. Let's look at it one more time. I've got another 2-part to do, but hit me with the chat first. Tell me how you're doing. Okay, what have we got in chat here? Aha, yeah. That dotted rhythm, ba, 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 ba. That's a rhythm well worth practicing. It is surprisingly hard. I mean, concept is just 3/8 notes, but hard and good. Improvement is all we can ask, right? We start at some point, and as long as we get better and better, this is a lifetime learning. Progress is all we can ask for. Yeah, and it's hard. I find this hard. I've been doing music a long time. This is hard, but it's a skill we kind of need. Just as we clear our heads, I'll just remind you guys, I don't do a lot of dictation in my life. I think I said this last time. I do a lot of the opposite kind of thing. I read a lot of music and have to hear it, but I don't have to hear a lot of music and write it down. And those use 2 different parts of the brain. It's just the way my career went. My career was as orchestra conductor. Rochelle Davis, who does a lot of arrangements and hymn arrangements, she does the opposite. She's always hearing some contemporary thing and writing it down and arranging it. So she does a lot of dictation. And if my career was like hers, I would have had to do a lot of dictation. So we need these skills, and you never know if you're the one who's going to be using it or not. In my life, not very important. In hers, very, very important. But I think it's a skill we all of our, as musicians, we should practice. And you may find it serves you very well. And you may find you don't need it. but most of you are going to need it. You'll be glad you did this. And that was just a speech to clear our mind before we tried other 4-part, because we had to rest a moment. All right. Whoops. What did I just do? Oh, stop the share. That's okay. I didn't stop the recording. Good. So let's do one more 2-part. This one's in 4/4 time. So mark it down. It's a little different. It's in 4/4 time. It's only got 2 complete measures, but it has a quarter note pickup. Actually, in the soprano, it's 2 eighth notes on the 4th beat. And in the bass, it's a quarter note on the 4th beat. So there's a pickup note, and then it's 2 measures of 4/4 time. So I'll let you set up the grid, and then I'll tell you about key and everything else. Okay, so the key, we're still in A minor. This time the soprano starts on an A, and remember, it opens with 2 eighth notes. The first of those notes is an A, bottom of the treble clef staff. I won't tell you what the second one is. You have to figure that out. The bass starts on a C quarter note at the top of the bass clef staff. So it's the middle C, the ledger line. And let's do it again, pushing the soprano first. Let's do 3 of each. I may not have time to do rhythm, and there will be rhythm on the exam. So if I don't get to it, make sure you practice. We're going to be doing 16th notes, and we're going to be doing 3/4, 4/4, and 6/8, just so you're aware of that. Okay, here we go, everyone. Where's my playback? There it is. First time through, 2 eighth note pickups starting on A in the soprano. Let's do that one again. You will notice it does not end on the same note it began. That's a clue. Here we go again. Let's do that one another time. Here we go. Okay, we're going to do the bass part. I will warn you, the bass part is all skips. It starts on a C, but it's all skips. So it's a little hard to hear, and it may be useful to use your theory knowledge as well as your ears, because there's a lot of skips in this bass part. Bass part's hard. Here we go, starting on a C. Let's do that again. And a third time. Now, forgive me for rushing, but I'm going to do the I'm going to share it now and show you the answer because I have a few minutes. I want to run through a little bit of rhythm so you're not surprised on Tuesday. So the soprano part is all stepwise, and it ends a different note than we began because it's a half cadence. But it's all stepwise. The only trick is hearing the eighth notes versus the quarters. Da da dee da da dee dee. The bass part has leaps. Now we can hear maybe that opening is mi do. That's not so hard, although it's not easy. But do is there, mi is there. We can sort of hear it, and then that by step. This D is very hard to hear. The way I do this is that I'm hearing this thing as a half cadence, so I'm guessing it's a 5 chord, so I'm guessing an E in the bass. That's a guess, but I'm pretty sure that that's likely. And then if you think of it as an E, then that D becomes sort of automatic, and you can hear that leap and the step back up. But that's very hard to hear. You have to have some theory knowledge. But as we listen to it, here we go. You can see how it works. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the rhythms I was going to dictate to you just to show you what to expect. 4/16, ba 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 ba. Eighth and 2/16, ba 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 ba. So, and then the reverse, ba ba ba. So we look at this 4/4 rhythm. Standard patterns. The 3/4 is the same patterns, just like this. I tried to put some accents in there to make it easier to hear the beat. And the last one is harder because I threw in a syncopation. Ba 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 ba. So that's a little trickier. If we go to 6/8, the tricky pattern is yup ba 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 bum. 1 2 3 1 yup ba 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 bum. And then at one point, I think that's all I gave you on this one. So let's just play the two back to back, and then we'll be done. 3/8. And then the other rhythm is this one. Here we go. Hemiola. That hemiola is hard. Probably I won't put it on the exam. We're still trying to get the 16th notes. So that's it, guys. I went a minute over. I'm sorry, but I want you to be ready for Tuesday. So thank you all for being here. It's so early in the morning, and I'll see you tomorrow for regular theory. All right? Thanks, guys, and take care.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.